think it's time for all of us on the left and the right, Democrats and Republicans, to look at the discourse that we have, the political discourse that we have in this country. Look.
So you're saying it's not enough to condemn violence. You got to condemn rhetoric, too, and start talking about rhetoric.
Yeah, I mean, we have to work together to make sure that folks understand that there are political differences, yes, but that it does not escalate into things like violence, or it doesn't escalate into things where people feel scared to go out and let their political views be known. We resolve these differences, and we do it at the ballot box. That's what America is supposed to be about.
I talked to Chris Stirewalt earlier in the show about this, that Democrats watched a couple of weeks ago the debate, and the world changed politically at that moment, and it divided Democrats. This moment has united Republicans, what happened last night, 2 weeks apart, and the race changed both times. How do Democrats go forward when so much of the Democratic platform right now is about opposing Donald Trump?
Well, I think that this also united Democrats as well. I think it united Americans in the sense that we all are a part of one American family, right? And you think about...
So are you talking to Democrats who are saying, okay, this is a moment and we're going to actively change how we start talking about things?
I think this helps Democrats in their own messaging as well, right? Listen, in this country, we as Democrats have often talked about the need for individuals who should go through background checks before they get access to deadly weapons, right? This presents an opportunity for that message to further resonate. Well, nobody in this country, whether you're a kindergartner at a school, whether you're a churchgoer, whether you're a candidate for president of the United States, should become victim to gun violence. We don't want to see that.
I hear that. I'm wondering, though, if that is this time, this place, if that is going to work when Republicans are saying the rhetoric from Democrats inspired this shooter.
I don't know all the details about the.
I don't think any of
this is of course, less than 24 hours old. This recent incident. From what I understand, the young man who committed this just horrible, heinous attack at the former president's rally was a registered Republican.
Registered Republican who donated to Democrats. That aside, Democrats are in a different position. The speech we heard on Friday night from President Biden, his new stump speech, if you will, 2/3, 75% of it was about demonizing Donald Trump. That is what, up until now, the Democrats' platform largely has been, what President Biden's talking points have been. Don't those have to change now?
Well, again, I think that this is a time for us to come together as Americans, for everybody on whether you're Democrats, whether you're Republicans, to look at the rhetoric and the words that we specifically use, right? So for me, and I think for Democrats who are watching this news program and Democrats across the country, we want to make sure that this sort of violence, whether it's guns at a rally, guns at a grocery store, guns at a school.
Isn't it a little early to be talking about guns, though? I mean, really?
Is it too early to talk about guns after a president was...
I'm more wondering, is it the guns that's the issue, or is it the people who are using guns and why they are inspired to use them?
Well, precisely, right? I mean, that's what I said. I said we should be talking about, background checks for individuals who should not have. Here in this city, unfortunately, people end up being hurt because folks who should not have access to guns have far too easy access to them. I would like to see that change. Democrats would like to see that change because Democrats believe that no matter who you are, no matter where you are, this sort of violence shouldn't befall anybody.
I think we can all agree violence shouldn't befall anybody. Again, I just want to make sure I'm clear on this, that where you see the Democratic response to this going is the discussion about guns.
I'm not saying that I see it going to guns necessarily. What I'm saying...
That's what you said.
Well, let me be very clear, Leland. I'm saying that there are individuals, not just here in this city and this state, but across the country, who have too easy access to guns, who should not have access to guns. Democrats have been working to make sure and would continue to fight to make sure, or work to make sure that those folks who shouldn't have that access don't, so they don't perpetrate actions like we saw against the former president the other day.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.